Well, it is hard to believe that this little absolute sweetheart is 3 months old already. Oh, vomit to start the show. That's a very good move. Say hello. Oh dear. Yeah, so totally unbelievable. For those who are joining us for the first time today, we have been sharing our IVF journey and now our parenting journey on YouTube. And I was like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to keep doing this? Because having a baby, it turns out, is super time consuming. And so she is going to eat while we chat. That's our thing. That's what we worked out. So yeah, today we're going to talk about hello. Oh, sweetheart. Nina saw that happen. A little spit rag for little sweetheart. She's not phased. She's giving me a big smile, which is one of the most exciting things that has been happening, like just heaps this week. Is she's starting to smile. So yeah, today it's been 3 months. Not today. When was it 3 months? It was 3 months on the 12th of August. So 3 months with our beautiful little darling, and we've learnt some things. We've learnt some things in these 3 months that we definitely didn't read about in any books or hear about much. And so I thought it would be really cool to jump on and just share some of that stuff with you all. Thank you so much for being here. Elle says 3 months already. What in the world? I know it's horrifying. And Snazzy Vegan Lab, hey, thanks so much for being here. She's so cute. Yes, we certainly think so. I literally am convinced she's the cutest baby that's ever lived. So is that something that all parents feel or just me? Um, so there's obviously lots of like very much Emily related stuff that we've learned. Like I had never changed a nappy or a diaper before. Oh, I mean, maybe I have once helping an auntie or something. But I'd never done that stuff. Like there's so much to learn, like learning to trust that they're okay when they're sleeping. I do still put my hand on her. I put my hand on her little belly, like probably maybe we're down to 6 times a night these days. But like that's something I don't know if you ever get over the there's this like immense love that has come into our lives, and along with it this immense fear. So that's something to that I think maybe you just learn to live with, and maybe it gets a little bit less, but it's like, oh, it's huge. Um, so many massive adjustments. There's so much noise about parenting and the right way to do it, and like there's so much advice that people give and that you can't help but like obviously our algorithms when we're having a little scroll on Instagram are very like parenting related, and there's so much stuff, there's so much noise, there's so much advice, and some of it's really good and really helpful, and other stuff it's just like, well, that doesn't work for our baby. I don't know what kind of magic baby you guys got, but what I mainly wanted to focus on talking about today is actually a question that was posed to me on Instagram from Elle. So thank you for asking. Elle asked a very simple question, which was, how are you and Nina? And that's something I don't know if that's I don't know why people don't talk about this more, but do you know what? It's like literally it's the most massive shift, not just learning to live with a baby, but learning to shift our relationship. Our relationship has changed completely. Like there is so much that's different. and your world goes from being, this is obviously very specific to us, so I guess possibly more relatable to people who are doing this with a partner. Um, but it's like your world goes from being very, very focused on this other person to all of a sudden it's all about Emily. So, like, working out how to find space for one another, working out how to be with one another and be respectful of one another throughout this new, beautiful, wonderful adventure that we're on that's also incredibly challenging, and we've had a lot of exciting curveballs thrown our way. But, yeah, so I really wanted to touch on that. Like, I would say Nina and I are doing great. Um, and I think the main reason for that is because the whole way along the road, we have been very, very open communicators. And I cannot imagine what it would be like if we weren't able to talk about stuff. Because I don't know, there's definitely hormones that happen from breastfeeding and from being a new parent and from these massive shifts that I don't know the science behind it. This isn't a science channel, but like there is a lot of paranoia that I have personally experienced. Like because some days I am literally pinned to the couch the entire day, and it's just like, well, there's no point even trying to, do the dishes or make the bed or do some fold some laundry or whatever, because it's literally just so hard to get away from Emily some days. Not that I want to. Sometimes you want to a little bit. But like those basic things that typically I would have been contributing a little bit in the household, and there's some days that it's just like, you just can't. And so I think us having the ability when Nina comes home from work for me to say, "I feel hideous because I have done literally nothing all day." Um, I know I have been doing something very important, and that is producing milk and keeping our baby alive, and that's a very, very, very big job, so it's not to diminish that, but, like, the things that I maybe feel like I should have been able to achieve also on top of that, and Nina to come home and me be like, "Oh, I haven't been able to do anything," and know that she is gonna have a conversation with me about it, and, like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit rambly about my point, and that's maybe because I'm tired because we have a 3-month-old baby. But it's the communication. It's so, so huge, and making space for each other, and just like simple stuff like asking, how was your day? How are you doing? Because the other partner can sometimes, I think, be a little bit forgotten in this whole experience. That's something that I have have witnessed and heard about, but, like, making sure Nina's okay in this whole thing, because I'm having this beautiful, precious time, like, really intense, but beautiful, precious time with Emily that now Nina's not getting to have when she goes to work, and so when she comes home, making sure Nina is involved in whatever capacity she wants to be, and yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge making sure Nina is feeling just as much of the mother as I am, I think. And that I'm guessing that's pretty common across same-sex relationships where one parent has carried and they're also the primary caregiver, that this like I see a lot of it in parent same-sex parent forums of this, like, it's like relationships can really disintegrate. Um, and so making sure that doesn't happen is like a top priority. And how is our relationship, um, like just as a couple? Nina and I were talking about it this morning. Like, while it might not look the same, like intimacy might not look the same as it once did at the moment, there are moments where we're like sitting on the couch looking at our beautiful little baby and looking at each other and just like, "Oh my god." Like, we've created this life together. Like, yes, I carried her. Nina was the one that was making meals and nourishing me so that I could make Emily, Like, this is such a I don't even know if I'm explaining this right. There's no right way of explaining it. But the intimacy has changed, you know? And those moments of sitting together and just being in awe of this precious little life that we've created together, it's just like, yeah, it's very special, and it's also very hard at times, um, to make sure I get nervous. I get nervous and paranoid because I wanna do more and because I can't do more, and gosh, I'm a rambly Sue. What does everyone else think? What does everyone else think? Because we can't be, alone in these feelings of bewilderment around readjusting our relationship around a tiny little human that enters the world. Like, she is our world now. And so we like one of the really practical things that we're trying to make sure we do is go on dates. And especially like while she's really, really little and sort of predictable-esque, like going to restaurants and going to going out for meals and going for doing things that we enjoy as a couple, like things that we enjoyed before she was here, making sure we make time to still do those things, like going for a walk down at Morialta Falls the other weekend was just, like, so special and beautiful. A little bit stressful because I was like, the pram's bumping and bumping and bumping on the path, and, like, I'm freaking out that the baby's, like, not okay. So we ended up carrying her for a lot of the way because anxiety. But yeah, like, making sure we make time for all those special little things, and, yeah, Nina's just said I think as well the parenting education classes we did at Women's and Children's Hospital were great. Yeah, I heard that they were gonna be terrible. Sorry, Women's and Children's Hospital. It was so good. The information around the importance of knowing that each stage is temporary too, and it will change so quickly. Yeah, that's it. Like, we might have these challenging experiences that we're going through, uh, but knowing that it is for a season and, like, it's not always going to be this way. Like, I'm not always going to get away with not doing the dishes. Actually, I did the dishes yesterday, I was very proud of myself. But, like, it's always gonna be evolving, and the communication is, I think, the thing that's gonna help get through the challenging parts and talking through it and not being afraid of sounding like a little bit of a lunatic for me, like, not being afraid of, like, "Oh, what's Nina's reaction gonna be if I say" I don't know, some dumb thing, I can't think of anything, but, knowing that she's got my back and knowing that the alternative is sitting with my thoughts by myself and going a little bit, uh Mm, just going a little bit bananas. And that isn't a good alternative. And sometimes, you know, conversations are challenging, and ideas of even just stuff around how we're raising our child, and like what kind of school do we want her to go to, and what kind of like is there going to be a sibling, like are we going to try to have a sibling, like these are big things that we don't always necessarily agree on all of the time. um and it's like knowing that that's okay as well, as long as we keep talking and we keep open, we continue to be open about things. And yeah, as Nina has also said, also the importance of focusing on the little wins each day and cheerleading one another on. Yeah, little wins, little wins. Like Nina came home yesterday and I had like done the dishes and a load of laundry. Meanwhile, the day before Nina had done like 50 loads of laundry. But like Nina came home and made me feel like I was a literal legend for doing those two little things. And it's just, yeah, we're really trying to focus on those little things. Like I had this moment the other day. I can't do a lot of special stuff for Nina necessarily at the moment, but I had a moment the other day when Nina was playing outside with Poppy, and I ordered us hamburgers and chips. And it was like, it's such a small thing, but I just like, I knew that that was gonna make her day, like just having a little cheeky Uber Eats every now and then. Yeah, it's the little things. I feel like this has just been such a mega ramble. Um, but that's one of the main things I think that we have learnt as parents is you gotta bloody well go with the flow. Things are changing constantly, and we might think, "Oh, we've nailed it with like this particular aspect of parenting Emily," and then the next day she's like, "No, I'm not going to do that thing that I have always done." Like when she first went from sleeping quite well, having naps quite well in the bassinet during the day to like, "I'm never, ever gonna let you put me down," was like, it's quite a big change, but you just gotta go with it, and not get paranoid about like, "Oh, is it weird? Like, is she getting enough sleep? Is she?" Because it's hard to get a baby who won't nap in a bassinet the correct amount of sleep that they say. Like if you Google it, if you jump onto Dr. Google, Dr. Pediatrics, Google and say, "Is my baby getting enough sleep?" You're gonna freak yourself out. So like I do that anyway and freak myself out, but it's also like just trusting that babies have been like they've been they've been doing all right for, like, all of humankind, like, throughout history. We're here, so, like, she's gonna be alright even if someday she doesn't get as much sleep as we're hoping she will get, and just yeah, I just try to get not too spun out by all of the expectations of what is a baby supposed to be doing at 3 months. I know for sure something is that what she's supposed to do is be really cute. She just had a big drink while we've been chatting, and she's sleepy. She does love these lights, so it's not a problem. So many interesting things that people are saying. Olivia says, "Hello, Olivia. One rule I have for my kids is no iPad until at least 7 to 10 years old." Yeah, right. There's no reason why my 2-year-old should be learning about S Skibbity toilet law. I don't know what that is. Is that a thing that I'm gonna learn as a parent? Bluey, I know about that, etcetera, before they can count to 10 or do their ABCs. Yeah, Louis just said, "I just realized how much the openness you have with us matches your openness with each other, and it sounds like you have a really healthy relationship." Look, yeah, I think we do. I think we have a marvelous, marvelous relationship and we have so much fun together. And that's like something that I am like, what do we want for Emily in life? Just to have a fun time. Not just like obviously, as we were talking about last week, like there's challenges as well, and it doesn't have to all be live, laugh, love. But like there's a lot of fun and there's a lot of laughter. And even through the things that are very challenging, like Nina and I just piss ourselves laughing all the time. And it's it's very special. And even when we have a moment where we have a little bit of a disagreement, or some might call it an argument, um, uh, like typically at the end of that, we're pissing ourselves laughing together. And we work our way through the challenging things by talking. Um, and yeah, Olivia has just said, um, this is very, very cool. I also aim for me and my husband to show our kids what a healthy relationship looks like. It starts in the home. Yeah. And that's something that, like, I think you don't necessarily realize until there's another person there with you. For us, she's a very young person. But when there's another person there and you're like, oh, we're like bickering, yuck. Like, I don't want that to be a thing. And if Nina and I are ever bickering, it's typically because one of us is actually upset about something else. So it's like, let's get to the bottom of it. Let's get to the juicy stuff. And like, maybe there's something going on at work, or maybe there's something going on like with family that's a bit stressful, or whatever it is. Or maybe we just haven't had enough sleep. That's pretty common. Um, but yeah, I think talking, communicating, and I think also for people who are doing this, like not with a partner, like having trusted people in your life that you can have a little rant with about stuff that's hard, like finding that community and building a little village. And yeah, that's been really important and special for me, like finding friends. Oh, that was a big poo. There's a big poo in this nappy now, which is a perfect time for us to say farewell. Thank you all so much for tuning in for my absolute ramble. You're all a pack of bloody sweethearts. And yeah, we just appreciate you tuning in and being part of what we're doing, and the lovely advice and feedback and stuff that you give. If you've got anything that you want to share, put it in the comments so people who watch this after the fact can see that as well. That'd be awesome. And like and subscribe and all of that stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna have a coffee now.